Welcome back to the Brandon T. Adams audio experience. I'm Brandon T. Adams, and today I'm sitting down with Dr. Stefano Sinicropi, CEO of Midwest Spine and Brain Institute. Throughout his career, he has performed over 10,000 surgeries, which is crazy. He has now become an entrepreneur here. He's a surgepreneur, surgeon and entrepreneur, who has been helping other entrepreneurs and also really growing his business. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Thanks for having me.
Dude,
This is great.
We're also partnered together recently, which we're going to talk about. But I always like to drive in at the beginning. Why did you want to become a surgeon? Like, did something happen in your life? Did you wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to become a surgeon? Tell the story.
I mean, I'll tell you two things. I mean, we always have to be honest with ourselves about kind of what we're best about. We all think we're great at everything, right? Yeah. But really the two things that I felt like were in my niche was, one, I was always a puzzle solver. Even when I was a kid, I always loved to solve puzzles. I mean, like, I would hear adults talking and I would try to fix their problems. Like, even like marital problems, I was like, let me think about this for a second. Let's figure it out. So I was always a puzzle solver, into everything, like even trying to like forecast the weather, like crazy stuff. It's just the way my brain works. And then the second thing is I love people. I was always obsessed with being around people and communicating. So, one of my gifts, I knew this as a child, was that people would be very responsive to me. So I could always kind of hold an audience and people would just listen to me and I would just talk and try to, tell them my ideas or whatever. And I just love sitting down with people of all kinds of backgrounds and nationalities. I just want to learn every single thing about people because I just love it. And so think about it. If you take somebody that loves to be around people and somebody that loves to solve problems, why not take those skills and try to solve the biggest, problem that we know of is this problem of the human body and how we live our best lives. And eventually I really love to, work with my hands. So I went down the surgical route, but it was first becoming an actual physician treating people.
So I gotta ask, like, how much education you go through before you can actually do a surgery?
No, I mean, it's pretty, it's pretty wild. And so you do 4 years. I did 4 years of college, right? I went to Fordham University, then I went to Columbia University for another 4 years for medical school there in Manhattan. Then I did a year of research. Then I did 5 more years as a surgical resident.
My brain hurts already.
In orthopedic surgery.
I can barely do 4 years, man.
Well, I'm saying in orthopedic surgery, it was amazing, and that's when I really had the passion for specifically doing spine surgery and kind of really honed and focused on spine. And then I went to the University of Louisville, where I trained for another year with neurosurgeons and orthopedic surgeons, really trying to learn all the tricks of the trade. And then I've been in practice for 20 years, so it's a lot of years before you're actually alone on an island doing surgery on people.
So you're almost 11,000 surgeries in, which is a crazy number. What does an average surgeon do in their lifetime of surgeries?
I mean, we've actually not that it does. It's quality first, right? But we've actually looked this up, and for an average kind of 35 year lifespan of the average spine surgeon, it's probably about 6,000 to 8,000 surgeries. It's two reasons that I've been able to do so many surgeries. One is, again, because of where I went to practice out in Minnesota, coming from the East Coast, being really good with people, things like that. I was able to build a really big practice fast. So my offices were really, after 1 year in practice, I was like so full, it was crazy, and it's never stopped since. So I had a lot of people coming to me from all over the country looking, for help and solutions. The other thing is, and I talk about this all the time, you have to make the decision. If you're trained, at something, and this never made sense to me, if you're trained and you've gone to the best institutions, some of the best institutions in the world, and you've trained under like amazing people, you've got to come out and practice your craft. You really have to. And people are so timid at the beginning. I mean, you just trained with the best people you could possibly find, and then you're going to come out and not do anything. So I think that, being able to just say, I'm going to really hone my craft, there's only one way to do that, is to do it. And so if you've taken like average surgeries, like a surgeries now that take me like honestly 50 minutes, used to take me 4 hours. but I changed the steps and kind of invented
your
my
own
own
unique
steps.
process.
Very much the own unique process. Everybody knows, like I go to the surgery, I say the same thing. I walk in and everyone just starts repeating me because I have stuff that we especially you start getting older, you repeat the same step. And I just say same way every time. And so I just believe a lot of surgeons, and again, we're going off on a tangent, but a lot of surgeons, they almost reinvent the wheel every time. Every time they do like the same similar surgery, they're just doing different techniques and using I'm very, very stepwise focused and say, okay, no, first we do step 1, then 2. We don't do step 1 and then go to 4 and then think about 2. You're there all day. And it makes a huge impact in outcomes, how quickly you can get the person on and off the table.
You know, what you're doing in surgery is a lot like business, having a proven step formula process for success. This is for people's health. How many have you done in a day? What's the most amount of surgeries you've done in a day?
I think we've done 12 surgeries.
12? You've done 12 surgeries?
Once 12 surgeries.
You get done in the day, are you just like...
In one day. You know what, I'll tell you, yes, after you're done with surgery, you crack. It's like running, we talked about like running hurdles. My son's a hurdler, you were a hurdler. Right? You just kind of collapse at the end. Then that's fine. I mean, it doesn't really work that way. I don't want to...
prepare yourself for it,
Flow state. It's all about flow state. When I am having those days, I am in a state, of just like everything is moving so slow. You notice every little minute detail. You can get into these amazing states, which is actually one of the definitions of like being joyful. That's what makes us joyful, when we're in such a state that we're loving every second of what we're doing. And that's how those days feel to me.
So I look at what you do, and now we're going to talk about in a bit here about business side of things. In business, you got to figure things out. You have problems and things go wrong. What happens? Well, maybe the business goes under. In your space, if things go wrong, it could be somebody's life. And you watch the Grey's Anatomy and all these things. You see all these crazy things happen on TV. But we had a conversation earlier. You were telling me about an incident where you're in the middle of a surgery. And you realize, whoa, if we don't act now, this person could be paralyzed. Can you share that story, what that even was?
Yeah, it is. We really are working, it's not always life and death for us as spine surgeons. It's more like, limb. It's more like if something happens, people can be paralyzed and things like that. So there was this, specific case, and there was, something, went wrong, during the case. We noticed that, and
in the middle of the surgery.
Right in the middle of the surgery, we know. So our neuromonitoring team were like, hey, this guy's spinal cord's not functioning anymore while we're working, right? And so that is extraordinarily rare, but it's something that happened. And so immediately I went down all of my checklists first. So there's like 3 things that we need to do. The first thing is you go through your checklist. And so the checklist in that case, you make sure that the patient's blood pressure is elevated, and make sure that, all the leads that the neuromonitoring are doing. And then we make sure that the field, so in other words, the spinal cord is completely free of any offending structures. So those are the checklists. Number 2 thing that I really try to teach the young surgeons, you have to, in every situation, you have to stay calm. And that's why it is so important in your life outside of being a surgeon to focus on things like, breathing exercises and yoga and meditation and going to the gym and keeping your body fit and all that other stuff, because I'm telling you, it's a Captain Sully moment when that stuff happens. You better go through your checklist and you better stay calm, because otherwise it could be really, really bad. And I've seen really bad stuff happens when I've seen people literally freak out. And when you're the surgeon, you can't freak out. I'm sorry, you just can't. You cannot do that. That's not a good thing to happen. And then the big one is the out-of-the-box thinking, all right, which I talk about all the time. Being able to think about like what are scenario, like this is a scenario that I can't like chat GPT that moment. I just have to rely on peripherally kind of what do I know? What have I heard? What have I read? What's possible? So there was a guy, his name was Dr. Coffey, and he was in Buffalo, and he was doing a cooling procedure with people that have spinal cord injuries. And the reason you do that is if your spinal cord is injured or not working, it is not just the initial insult that causes the problem, but it's the secondary cascade of inflammation that then causes more damage. And so he was cooling them by putting in intravenous fluids very cold and getting their body temperatures way down. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. So I asked the anesthesiologist, hey, can you get cooling? So, and they're like, I don't know. We can't, I don't know how we're going to do it. It wasn't a thing. Like it wasn't available at the moment. So we had to think outside the box. So what I did is I went and I told everybody, I said, okay, everyone stay calm. I need everybody that has a free hand to go and get every piece of ice in this hospital and bring it in this room right now. And they were like, what are you talking about? I was like, just go get ice. Then we finished the surgery, closed them up. We flipped the guy over and we put him in his ICU bed and we covered him with ice. All you could see with his ice. Bags of ice. I mean, just pouring ice on this guy. And we were able to cool him down, and we kept him like that for several hours. We just kept putting bags of ice on this guy. Eventually, we were able to get some cooling solution, and they figured out how to do that. So we kept him cool. And I went out to the family. And it was a very heartfelt moment, very religious family. We prayed together. We cried together. I was pretty devastated. I was like, I hope
thought it was going to be the worst.
I thought that potentially he was never going to be able to have function. And I told him I was doing this crazy out-of-the-box thing. And I said, yeah, the staff is like, what is going on right now? I've never, like, because literally never, no one's, I don't even know if anyone's ever done that before, ever. Yeah. I've never heard of this stuff. And so eventually we did that. It was very, very difficult, several hours after that. My wife talked me down, off the ledge a little bit and whatever. I went back, I saw the patient. It was about maybe 5-6 hours afterwards. He had already started moving one side of his body. Yeah. Pretty good. A week later, that man walked out of that hospital. Wow. And I'll tell you this with that story. And it's crazy because sometimes it's the patients that have something, happen to them or it doesn't quite go the way they want. This guy comes in. This is a true story. He comes into my office and he sits there. And first of all, I'm obviously emotional to begin with because of everything that happened. And he's walking and he's basically okay. All he got a blood clot in his arm. That's all that he came out with. Not a big deal. He had some swelling in his arm. That's it. And so he sits down and he starts getting all teary-eyed. And I thought he was going to say, hey, like, I can't believe I went through that, like some PTSD thing. No, it was like tears of joy. He's like, doctor, thank you so much for this operation. All that neck pain I had before you did the surgery, it's all gone. I feel great.
Oh my God.
Like, and you know how I was. I'm kind of an emotional, emotional guy. So going from this could have been catastrophic to the guys thanking, so thankful. And that's what it is. And that's why no matter what happens, this is advice, for the young, like, surgeons out there, no matter what happens, things can go wrong or you could try to save a patient and, always, be there for them, always be there for their families, always over-communicate because you know what? They know that we're human and they just want that human touch, which makes such an impact for them and their lives. Never forget that.
So this story, such a powerful story, and that's why it leads great into the business side because you're solving humans' problems, but now in business, you're speaking, you have a book, and you talk about being the CEO of your own health. What does that mean to you for people to really take control of their own health?
No, absolutely. This is something that I could not be more passionate about. I'm going to take a little tiny step back. So over the course of my career, I've seen over 25,000 patients. Wow. And what I was noticing was even though people were going to the well of traditional Western medicine, they were getting worse. Yeah. Okay, their diabetes was getting worse, their autoimmune disease, all these things were getting worse, but yet they had a list of doctor visits you couldn't believe. I'm like, some of these people, like, they live at the doctor. I'm like, do you do anything other than go to the doctor? Yeah. But you're getting sicker.
See, I don't go to the doctor at all. So.
That's all. But honestly, they're despite that they're getting sicker, but people feel trapped in the system and they're going, backwards. So it was like one of these things. I didn't necessarily think that I was going to get into the integrative health world and regenerative medicine space and all these other spaces. I was actually drawn into that space because I was seeing so much dysfunction as an insider in the health system, and I couldn't sit on the side. It was impossible. That's just not the way my personality is. So I went crazy, down that path. And then the idea for the podcast and the book came, and the book was really a way to teach people how to navigate what is a really complex system. It is so hard to get through the system. Even people that have a lot of means, if they get in trouble and if they get into the healthcare system, sometimes they don't even know what to do. They don't know if they're getting the A team, the B team, if their treatments are effective, if somebody's just, trying to push treatments because that's all they do, and so on and so forth. So the only way that we're gonna really stem the tide of that and try to bend that curve is to have individuals understand how dysfunctional the system is and understand that they have to be the true CEOs of their system, no different than a CEOs of a company. You have to choose the people that are going to lead your departments, right? So if you have a heart problem, you need to choose the right cardiologist for you. You need to choose the right primary care doctor, the right wellness specialist,
you need the dream team of doctors and people around you.
And you don't have to feel feel like you are a prisoner of where you're sent. There's so much information out there. Find the right people. Find people that vibe with you. Some people have cultural backgrounds. It just doesn't vibe, and they still go to the same people. Of course, you're not going to go. It's like two people speaking a different language. You're not going to get good health care if they don't understand you, and you don't understand them.
Your background, what you know as a surgeon and speaker in business, was perfect because we met through a Lead with Love, Tim Story event. Kevin and I came in, we met you, and we're like, we got to form a partnership. And you recently become a deal partner with us. We're working on deals and in the health industry, even outside of that, with this dream team. Surgeon, entrepreneur, shark, together combined is the ultimate dream team. So talk about some of the things you're excited about with our partnership with us doing things together.
No, I mean, I couldn't be more excited. Here's the situation right now with people trying to be CEOs of their health and this information really getting out. It's almost the Wild West right now. There are so many opportunities for entrepreneurs and businesses and companies to reach millions of people with their amazing ideas, whether, it depends, whether it's a process or a product or whatever they have. The problem is that a lot of it is really disjointed. And this is really where my expertise is like I've become a true expert. Regenerative medicine, peptides, biohacking, you name it, supplementation, those kinds of things. And obviously surgery and biomedical companies and things like that. But forming a partnership where I can bring my expertise, as with the surgical precision, but also having founded many companies, myself in these spaces, bring that, package where I can really try to vet them and really help them to create what is it they're trying to do? Is their science, correct? Do they need to go a different direction? But then partnering with incredible entrepreneurs who have brought so many businesses to the sky. Basically, imagine the rooms that we can curate together to really, number one, teach people how to do this, but then give them the opportunities to have the dream team to be able to take their businesses to the next level. I think it's going to really
I'm excited.
revolutionary.
We're at dinner last night. We're already talking ideas, different boards and ways we can help people. I know we're short on time. I'm going to have one more question, but before we go to that, where can people find you?
So people can reach out and find me at drstefanomd.net. There's kind of everything I'm doing there. You can learn about all the brands and the speaking and the podcast and the radio show and all those things. So please reach out. Also find me on Instagram, Dr. Stefano MD.
Last question. Okay, your best advice for success for the audience in life, for anything to have success in life, what's your advice to them?
I think that the best success is find your team, find those mentors, find those people that you can really wrap around yourself. Don't go at it as a lone wolf. That ancient African proverb, which you've heard me say, before, alone we can go fast, but together we can go far. And that's what people really need to understand. Find your dream team, and then you can really, find your success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on the show. For all of you out there, you know what time it is. Go out there, create something great, and become unforgettable, because life is too short not to. I'm Brendan T. Adams. Have a great day, everyone.